Thanks for joining us today. I'm Gabe with Backwoods Pursuit. Today we're going to do a Katabatic Gear Flex Quilt review. This here is the Flex Quilt from Katabatic, and specifically it is the Flex 15. It comes in a various number of temperature ratings, but this one is the 15 degrees. So we're going to do an overview, a review of this. I'm going to show you how the pad attachment system works. It's really an awesome pad attachment system, probably my favorite of all the quilts that I've tested. I'm going to go through the features, some of the materials that are used, that sort of thing. And I'll give you a couple of things that I liked and maybe something that could be better as well. So stick around for that. As always, we really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button for us and follow us on our Facebook and Instagram accounts. It really means a lot. Thanks for subscribing, following along. Check out our website, backwoodsPursuit.com. We've got a lot of other gear reviews there, as well as a full written review on this and all the other quilts and sleeping bags we've been testing lately. Go check those out. I'll put a link to that and all of that down in the description, as well as a link to the Katabatic Flex Quilt down in the description for you so you can check it out for yourself. Let's get started. Alright, so first up, let's go over some of the specs of the Katabatic Flex Quilt. Again, this is the 15 degree model. This comes in at 27.5 ounces, and this one is specifically the wide version of the regular wide model. Now they come in 5 different sizes, shortest being for a 5'6" person up to a 6'6" person, and then each of those lengths come in a wide or standard model. Me personally, I like to go with a wide model. And the reason for that is I like to be able to, on the underneath side of this, I like to be able to cinch these down all the way together on real cold nights so that you basically make yourself a sleeping bag if you want to, but then you can open those up and get yourself a lot of extra room to move around and whatnot if it's not near the lower temperature rating for that specific option that you've selected. As far as the materials for the Flex, on the exterior shell here, you've got a Pertex Quantum on the shell. And then on the underneath side here, on the liner, you have a Pertex Quantum Taffeta, which is just really, really soft. Both the exterior and interior are really soft. It's really a high quality material, downproof, DWR treated, so you can repel some of that moisture. When you're selecting your down for these, they're basically custom built to your specifications that you select when you go ahead and order one. So you can select an 850 fill a dry down, which is a duck down for their 850 fill. It also can be, you can select a 900 fill goose down, which is either untreated if you prefer the untreated, or if you want to do the dry down, you can select that as well. You have your choice of that. So this one here is the 900 fill dry down treated regular wide model, and it comes in again at 27.5 ounces. And again, this is the Flex model, and you just got a ton of features within this particular quilt. Now the Footbox here is overstuffed, automatically comes that way, so give you extra warmth in the feet where oftentimes you need it. On the draft collar here, you have a nice plush draft collar that's automatically included. It's not an add-on, which is awesome. So those are a couple of awesome features. And you also have the option to overfill the down when you make your order. So if you want to get a little extra warmth out of your quilt, you can add that option, and they offer that to you as well. Now for the 15 degree model here, you get for each side here, so for one layer of this you get 3.5 inches of loft, or I'm sorry, 3.25 inches of loft with the down that's included. So you, as you can see, you just got a ton of loft for a 15 degree bag. It's a super comfortable, just really a plush bag. And another feature here is you can see you got horizontal baffles, and they're continuous baffles. So all the way, they go from one end to the other here. They're one continuous baffle, so if you were to lay this out as a blanket, you've got one continuous baffle for each of them all the way down. And the way that can come in handy is if you've got a warmer night that you don't need quite the warmth that this is going to offer, you can move the down away from the top, and that's going to move the down underneath you, so it's not going to be quite as warm. But if you have a cooler night, you can move the down up on top of you, and you can go ahead and make that bag just as warm, or the quilt just as warm as it possibly can be if you're getting to the lower limit of your particular temperature rating. Now as far as the sizing, the widths here, so the standard versus the wide width, in the shoulders here you've got 58 versus 54 in the shoulders. In the hips here, you've got 49 versus 45 in the standard width. And in the foot box, the standard is 40 inches and the wide is 44. So all the way around, you just have a little bit, obviously wider, more comfortable, more versatile as far as if you go with the wide width, but you do have a little bit of extra weight as well. As far as the weights, from the smallest, the quilt that is made for a 5'6" person is about 23.8 ounces. In the very lightest is the warmest temperature rating, or the coolest, the highest temperature rating, versus down if you go to the 6'6" model in the 15 degree, which this is the warmest rating, it goes up to just over 30 ounces for that. So 23.8 ounces versus 30 ounces, so and not that big of a spread. We're going from 40 down to 15 degrees, I believe, is the temperature options that you get from the Flex Quilt here. All right, now, so for me personally, I was able to test this in a various number of conditions and temperatures. Again, this is the 15 degree model, and I had this out and it was in the mid-teens, and the humidity of higher humidity, so the feels like temperature, if you will, according to the Weather Channel and whatnot, was at 10 degrees, and I was still plenty warm with this. Of course, I had a nice warm pad underneath me, the XPED winter mat, or down mat, I'm sorry, down mat UL, and so that's a high R value, over 7 R value on that pad. But that combined with this 15 degree quilt, I was plenty warm down to that feels like temperature of 10 and in the mid-teens as far as the actual temperature. So it performed very well, and it clearly had more that it could go. I just didn't get the temperatures below that to where I was testing to see how much lower it would go, but it's going to meet and or exceed that temperature rating. One thing to note about Katabatic is their temperature ratings, this being a 15 degree, that is their comfort rating. So you can go well below that. And of course I tested with just base layers on, a long john base layer and a wool top. So you put some layers on underneath that and you're going to be well below that 15 degree mark and be very comfortable. So that is something cool. Some of the features here that I'm going to note real quick: on the foot box, you have a drawstring foot box, so you can seal that up if you are at that lower limit of the temperature rating. And then it also has a snap closure here, which gives you the option, if you really want to vent that out and don't want to get too warm, you can unsnap that and just let your feet breathe if it's a warmer night, of course, or go ahead and button that up and then cinch that down. And that, because you've got another nice draft collar down here on the foot box, you close that down and it just completely seals off drafts. Did a great job for me that way. Similarly, up on top, you've got a drawstring here to really close down the top of that, and then you have a button here on top, nice sturdy button, and then you go ahead and cinch that down, and you're just going to be as tight as you want right there around your neck to seal out all those drafts. And of course, you've got this nice big draft collar here that does just an excellent job of sealing out drafts for you. So going ahead and flipping this thing over, I'll show you some of the features on the underneath side. This is the Flex Quilt, and one of the reasons why they call it the Flex is because you've got this zipper here. So you can unzip this and of course unbutton that, and then you can open this up fully like a quilt if you want to just lay it over you. Of course, you can take these pad straps off if you're not going to use them, or of course on the cold nights, zip that back up and use it in the warmer mode. So go ahead and do this, zip that back up. And one of the unique things about these Katabatic quilts is you do have this elastic right here around the back side of the quilt. And the reason that was important for me during testing is that elastic really did a good job of helping seal yourself to the bottom of that pad so you don't have those drafts coming in on you. And it just worked really well. Elastic on both sides there. And then of course you have your pad strap system. And I will show you how that pad strap system works here. There's a couple ways you can do this. You can start with it. It's just a nylon cord here with a tightening or tensioning system here, and you got one for each side. So you can leave them attached here and slide it over your pad. But what I'll do is I'll show you an easy way, just so it's easier to show you. I'll throw this aside here for a second. Go ahead and get these installed here. So you open these up nice and big, so it goes over the top of your pad like that. And you get them about where you want them on your pad. They're going to line up with the quilt there, and it's real nice and easy to do. And then you just grab this and tighten it down. And I like that these are not an elastic, because I've had the elastic move on me. It opens up a draft area on some of the others I've tested. So I like that this is a cord that you can really cinch down and keep it where you want on your pad. So once you've got that, go ahead and line this up with your quilt. I'll do this kind of backwards for me, but so you can see it better. And then you attach it right here on these cords. So I'm going to grab the camera, zoom in so you can see how this works. Alright, so I went ahead and installed the cords here. I left them kind of loose to start. That way you can move them up or down or slide them up and down as needed. But you've got these attachments right here, and these are, if you can see that very well, they are a two-position stop. So you can lock it in right here on the first little place, and then it moves real freely on the cord. So that's nice if it is warmer again out. So you can go ahead and do that. So a good way to start is to go ahead and click those in and get it started that way. Now they're both real flexible, real easy to move like that. And then we can grab the other end here and get that started right there and right there. Now you can just leave it like that and sleep like that. That works perfectly well. But for when those nights get real cold and you want to go ahead and make sure this is locked down, you can grab this, and there's another position here. You can go ahead and push that, and then that doesn't move on you. So this lays nice and flat so you don't feel it at night. So you go ahead and do that on both sides like that. You kind of get the hang of it. Real simple, real easy. Do that on both sides. Now if you need to move this in the middle of the night, let's say it warms up or cools down. Obviously it typically cools down at night, so you might start these out here like that, kind of wide open. All you have to do is lift it straight up like this and then move it here, and then when you lay it back down, it locks that in place. And that thing did not move at all for me. It did an awesome job and stayed right in place where I wanted it, and then it just did a fantastic job of sealing out drafts. Now on this side where we started the cords here, if you want to go ahead and just tighten that down around your pad, give that a little tug. Doesn't have to be real tight, but just tight enough so it doesn't move on your pad, and you're good to go. That's not going to move around on you. It's going to stay put, and then you are ready to go. Your pad's in place, your quilt is right on top of your pad, and you're ready to go. It's a really nifty system, works really, really well. It's probably my favorite pad system of any quilt that I've tested. So a couple of things I loved and a thing or two I didn't love about the Katabatic quilt here. Really, for the most part, absolutely loved this quilt. This is one of those that is kind of like a Cadillac of the quilts out there. You've got your draft collar, you've got a draft collar in the footbox, you have the snap and the drawstring on the bottom, and the zipper there. You got just an awesome quality down, awesome quality material here. Not a whole lot to dislike about any of that. The strap system is phenomenal. The way it seals out drafts is phenomenal. One of the downsides to that is you've got a quilt, a 15-degree quilt that's 27.5 ounces. For a quilt that's a little bit heavier than some of the others out there, you can go lighter for sure, but not by a ton. So even though you get all these amazing features, you have a little bit of a weight penalty, but it's really not too bad. It's 5 to 7 ounces depending on the models that you're choosing, what you're comparing it to. So it's a little bit heavier. And on the quilt side of things, obviously if you're using a quilt, most of the time you're looking to shave some ounces. So it's kind of that balancing act of what's most important for you, the amazing comfort features that you get here, or saving a few ounces and maybe getting rid of the draft collars, the zipper, all those kinds of things, the 1 or 2 pad strap systems. There's a lot of options out there for that, but really, for a few extra ounces, less than half a pound more, you've got just an absolutely phenomenal quilt here. Just a really, really high quality, so something I loved. The other thing that you do get with something like this, it doesn't pack down quite as small as some of the others out there. Obviously real high quality down, high quality materials, it still packs down really small, but not quite as small as some of those others out there that are going to be the same temperature rating. I'll go ahead and throw this in a stuff sack for you, so I can show you that, how it does stuff down for you, and then I'll show you some other things that come with the Katabatic quilt when you buy one. So this is the Flex 15 in its stuff sack. As you can see, it's not quite as small as some out there, and again, this is not a compression sack. I do wish that this was in a compression sack, or it came with one, but it's just got the stuff sack here. As you can see, it's a little bit on the big side, but if you did have a compression sack, or if you wanted to pick one up, you could really get this thing a lot smaller if you needed to or wanted to. That high quality down allows you to do that. Nice thing about this is that it's not really small, so it's not a super tight fit. which makes it easy to stuff in here. So if you throw a compression strap over the top of this, it really does the same thing. So nice that way. And also comes with a long-term storage. They hook you up with your long-term storage bag here, one of these big cotton bags, and that's the way you want to store this. Your quilts or sleeping bags not all compressed in the stuff sack here, and let that down loft while it's being stored long-term. So that's cool. I really appreciate it when companies do that. One other thing that you get with this is an extra pad strap system, and this is the cord system. So if you want to run it like the quilt, like I just showed you, you've got that, an extra one if you happen to lose or break it or cut it or whatever. You've got an extra one there. And then one other cool thing is that you've got a secondary pad strap option here. This is another way that you can use this, and I should have showed you this while I had it on the pad there. But if you want to basically use this like a like a sleeping bag, there's some loops right where the cord attaches to that little plastic buckle, if you will, and you just run these through those loops. You can tighten this down all the way down like it's a sleeping bag basically, and you can just tighten that all the way up. So there's basically that sleeping bag is what you can make it. So you've got the option to run it like that sleeping bag on top of your pad, not attached to your pad. You can run it with the yellow cord lock, and that attaches it to your pad, and you have a lot of flexibility what you do there. You can unzip the whole thing, run it like a blanket if you want. Just a lot of versatility, a lot of options, and a super high quality quilt. So that is the Katabatic Flex 15. Thanks for watching here today. I'll put a link down in the description for you so you can check it out for yourself. Awesome high quality quilt. Highly recommend checking them out. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.